got to address the realities that you are facing, and you can't hide from them. And the faster you address that reality, the faster that you can make changes to your business model, to your cost structures, to relationships with your customers, the more likely you are to be able to turn the business around and fix the problem. But if you freeze and try and ignore or hide from the problems that you're facing, that's not going to end well.
Welcome, everyone. We've got another exciting Fearless Founders podcast today. We're excited to have my friend, and now Ike's new friend as well, Ashley Leonard, who is at least 3 times a founder and tech guru who's exited companies. Ashley, thanks so much for being here with us to help us with all of our audience who want to know, what does it take to start, scale, and exit a company? Welcome.
Thanks, Benoit. Great to be here.
Super. Hey, tell us a quick background. Let everyone know about you and why we are even talking today.
So, a little bit about my background. I'm originally from the United Kingdom, just near London. And grew up there and moved to the US when I was about 24, which I'm 54 now. So that's 30 years ago. Wow, time goes quickly. As a kid, I struggled with quite a lot of educational challenges, and I'm dyslexic, and that kind of created as a child some challenges, but also some opportunities. I started to have a fascination with IT and started writing code and wrote software for children that had dyslexia. An interesting fact, I'm not sure if you heard this, Benoit, but a disproportionately high population of CEOs are dyslexic. So I think the struggles that you can have can actually be turned into opportunities, because dyslexic people tend to look at things a little bit differently than someone who's not. So, I had a chance to come out to the US at 24 and started teaching some classes at Boston University. That's what brought me to the States, and I've always kind of been an entrepreneur, even as a child. All right, I started writing software and selling that software to other schools, I had a great time at BU, but academia wasn't really my thing, and so I went on and founded initially a services company doing work primarily for offshore banks, exited that business and started a company called Network D, which was doing implementation of a IT management platform that Intel had called Intel LANDesk. And at the time, LANDesk was being bought by a lot of large enterprise companies, but it was just not being installed, and it got a reputation. They called it shelfware, because people would buy the box, put it on the shelf, and never install it. So Intel came to me and said, "Hey, can you help?" I started helping them implement that in a number of large companies. Built that company from zero, sold it when we were doing just under $50 million in revenue. Ended up doing a roll up with that company, ended up taking over and running the company I sold to, built it up to over 100 million on that business. And then most recently, Syxsense, which I moved from kind of the professional services side of the business into software again, and launched Syxsense. Saw a great opportunity with providing cloud-based SaaS IT management software, and that was kind of where we started Syxsense. And grew that into more than just management, but cybersecurity as well, all in a cloud solution. And we sold that business in September of last year. So just ago.
Congratulations! Yes, that's fantastic. What a journey, and what a level of discipline and fortitude to repeatedly do this over and over again. So I can attest to this. Has it become, I wouldn't say easier, but has it become more? Have you been able to achieve more with less effort with each consecutive company that you've started?
I think it helps having done it before, because you understand what is required, and you're able to build a network around you of resources to help you accelerate the growth quicker. But I would also say that every business has been very different. There's a huge difference between your professional services businesses and SaaS software companies, and you learn many lessons along the way, and I'm sure we'll dig into some of those as we chat today. But I would say that yes, it is easier having done it before, because you certainly understand and have the experience of what to do to succeed, and you're also able to build a network of friends, of consultants, of team members that you've worked with perhaps at other companies, and investors that want to come along with you on the journey.
Indeed. Wouldn't you say this, since you're on your next one, right? What's your input on this topic?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like every company is different. The customers are different. You have to find the brand new engineers that will build their own careers with you from scratch. So you can't just bring everybody else from the previous one. It just doesn't work, right, Ashley?
For sure. But you can also, there are ways to, some people can kind of help you along the way as well. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Cool.
In this journey, Ashley, what's the top 2 things you've learned so far, and advice you would give to these first-time tech founders who are looking for hope from seasoned experts like you? What are the 2 things you'd say, and tell us any stories around them?
Well, so growth and starting a business and growing a business it's not this kind of thing you see in charts, where you see a company's growth go from 0 and kind of doubling every year, and or tripling even in some cases, and you see the growth chart, right, go from the bottom left to top right. It doesn't happen that way in reality, right? It is definitely more kind of up and down and up and down and up and down. And yes, you can smooth it out, and it will ultimately, hopefully, look like that. But growth, I'll share a story. So my previous company, before Syxsense, we were partnering with another major software company, and built a large portion of our business around that company's business model, and we were very, very successful. In fact, became one of their largest partners in the world. Due to things going on within their company, because they got taken over, and their requirements for growing their business, they ended up changing the business model that they worked with partners like my company, and the result of that was a huge disruption to our business. In fact, almost to the point of putting us out of business. We got right there before I was able to turn it around and ultimately build it and sell it. And as I talk to other entrepreneurs, it's funny to hear such similar stories from other entrepreneurs and friends that I have that have literally taken their company to the edge of an abyss and had that tenaciousness, that dedication, that belief that they can turn the company around, and turned it around and exited for great numbers. So I would say that you've got to really believe, I think, in your business. You've got to believe in your product and your team, and you need to follow through on even in the dark days, because there will be dark days. As an entrepreneur, you will have some very dark days, because that growth it's not that linear curve that just goes straight up. That's just not how it works in real life.
You were tenacious. You as you said, you probably had a good team to recover from that. But look, I can see some people being frozen. Like from the fear of losing everything. Like your business is going down, and that's the business model you built. That's the product you built for that partnership. In your case, like what is the mindset to get somebody get the founder out of that frozen moment and then act and do something about it?
Yeah, it's scary, especially as I've done it both ways. By the way, I've built a company kind of bootstrapped, where I put the capital in and just built the company slowly, and I've also done it where I've raised venture and private equity funds. So I've done it both ways. And it is scary when you've got your net worth on the line, right? As you're building that business, and you're seeing your financial resources dwindling down as the business is slowing down, and you've got to meet payroll, and all the other challenges that you have when running a business. So it definitely is scary. But I would say, to answer your question, Ike, you've got to address the realities that you are facing, and you can't hide from them. And the faster you address that reality, the faster that you can make changes to your business model, to your cost structures, to relationships with your customers, the more likely you are to be able to turn the business around and fix the problem. But if you freeze and try and ignore or hide from the problems that you're facing, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, in the past, I've had many instances where the payroll stress would not allow me to sleep at night, because it was so daunting. And eventually, just like you said, I had to change my mind shift and say, am I really in this? Do I really believe what I'm doing is correct? And it'll make a difference. And nowadays, I tell people this all the time, I can now sleep through distress. But like this morning, if I'm excited, eustress, my mind still wakes up in the middle of the morning and night and is ready to go. And I go, no, I need more sleep. But you get to become accustomed to discomfort, right?
Yep.
You become good at a certain amount of pain, and that's what it takes. And it's something that you have to acquire only through, not around the obstacles of starting a business. And if our viewers and listeners can understand that, yeah, this is part of becoming a business owner. And somebody once said, oh, you're a successful entrepreneur and all of that. And I said, no, I'm a struggling small business owner. Yeah. And that's how I think of things, right? And he laughed hard because he understood all the nuances that's related to it. So good on you. Yes, we have to go through the problem, figure it out, grit, and consistently believe in yourself, and communicate very well so people are well aware of what's going on. Otherwise, keeping them in the dark is almost the worst thing you can do. So
it's a good idea, I think, when you're facing situations like this as well, to kind of assess who your key relationships are, right? So who are the people that are going to be most important to being able to turn the business around? And you want to think about, it's everyone from your customers, so kind of who are your key customer relationships, who are your key employee relationships, that it's absolutely vital you have those people locked in and kind of on the bus with you as you try and address this. And then vendors, if your business is reliant on buying product from someone else, if your business is having a tough time, it's really important that you are talking to your vendors so they understand what's going on and can help be part of perhaps the solution for you. And then obviously your financial partners as well, if you're working with banks or investors, VCs, etc. So yeah, I think it's really smart in those challenging times to do a little inventory inventory of your key partnerships, and then figure out a plan of how you can engage those key partners in addressing the challenges to the business, because they're going to be on the boat with you if you bring them along on the ride with you, because typically they're going to want to be part of the solution.
That's a beautiful reminder to all that we are not alone on an island. We have so many relationships that we have to keep honored along the journey, not just during the wins, but during the losses, so that they can be respected, and they will respect you back when you need them, when you need to extend payment terms or ask for payment terms, or when you have to have critical supply of materials and they don't know what's going on and why you haven't paid for the prior shipment. So good on you. Very good reminder. That's a great point there. And then go, Ike. Sorry.
Bino, if you don't mind, I was going to change the topic just a little bit.
Yeah.
Ashley, you mentioned, you helped company turn shelfware to realware. I met somebody yesterday. This company apparently have great engineering team. They built like 8 products. He's going there as a head of go-to-market strategy to start building the sales motion and scaling the customers, not just whip out products left and right. So you obviously understand the concept of creating something that is useful for the customer, for their challenges, not just sell or whatever you have. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, to our audience, what they should pay attention when they're building a product, when they're scaling a product, how to align the product with the customers and make sure it's not shelfware?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you hear this term of product market fit quite a lot, right? And it's so important that when you're developing a product, that you have that good product market fit. So it is not easy to do, but the way that I've done it in the past is I've typically looked for what my customers are not getting, either from existing technologies or products, or from anyone in the market. So I think that is a good starting place, is to be constantly looking for underserved segments. So it could be your capabilities, it could be size of customer, it could be delivery model. That, obviously there was a monumental move from perpetually licensed software to SaaS and to cloud, and now of course we have AI, which is another monumental shift that's occurring in the industry.
Outcome based, maybe.
Yeah. So I think looking, you definitely want to look there, because well, I'll actually share a practical tip which I've used. It's a little devious, but it's practical, and I think it will help perhaps some of the people listening, viewing today. What I would do is, if I've got an idea for a new product, I will create a website for that product or that feature, and I will list out its capabilities. And I may even create multiple with different capabilities and different features. And then what I'll do is I'll promote that website using paid ads, so I can get eyeballs on it of the people that I'm interested in selling to. And then I'll use analytics to see which of the 2 products is getting better responses. So I can use that to help design the product, right? Because I know that if I'm getting more response from a product that has these features in feature set A versus B, then when we're moving into development, and we'll have a kind of contact us form, and when you fill a form in, and we'll send them an email saying thank you, we're working on the product, and you'll be one of the first to know about it when it's ready. But you can use real world feedback before you actually build the product.
Yeah.
So that's one technique I've used to kind of help to help test some of my theories, right? Because you as an entrepreneur, you're constantly coming with ideas, and some of the crazy ideas. So that's one way of doing it.
So that's the great way in the start, right? Like trying to decide what to build. Doing an A/B testing on your ideas on the market cap is brilliant. So what's after that? Let's say you build the first version or MVP. You're trying to find the product market fit, and then there's scaling after that, right?
Yeah, you typically want to find an early customer that's going to come on board with you. We used to use the term in the professional service business. We call it paid practice development, where we would actually sign a customer on board. We'd bring in the people that had the expertise to be able to deliver this, but we would then build the practice with the customer paying us along the way. So if you can get a customer to buy your product while you're developing it, that's going to help you immensely through the process. Now, you've got to be equally careful, because you can end up building a product that's only suitable for one particular customer. So that's the other danger that comes with that as well, right? So back to kind of thinking about product market fit, and you do want to think very carefully about what your target market is, what the size of company that you're targeting, to make sure that as you move through into your development phase, that you're going to have that market fit that you're looking for.
That's fantastic. I like it. What tips do you have? Because we always know that, and I tell first-time founders, hey, a great idea, but unless you know how to sell it, don't start. Don't go there. So what would you recommend? What stories do you have on how to increase and sell the product? Because everyone's got a widget, everyone's got the best idea, but I'm sorry, unless you know how to bring in revenue, don't even start. That's me, a little harsh, but that's what I tell them, right? You got to figure out how to sell. Everyone needs to sell. And you started out coding. You clearly have the brains for that. How did you start thinking about how to create a scalable and predictable revenue machine? What advice do you have on that topic?
Wow, that's two questions, right? So one's kind of how do you start, and the other one is how do you get that revenue wheel moving, right? So let's kind of start with the first question, which is kind of how do you start? The answer is really simple. You have to. You're the salesperson for the company. You believe in it. You believe in what you've built. You're going to be able to have the level of enthusiasm and excitement around your product that, quite frankly, no one else can, because you built this thing, and that'll come through to customers as you start talking about it. I mean, there's kind of all types of online marketing tricks, obviously, to be able to kind of get your company launched and promoted and start to drive sales online. But it begins with you, and you will also become a bottleneck for the company's growth pretty quickly as well, and that's something else that you have to recognize, that you can't do everything. And as an entrepreneur, I think I remember when I was hiring my very first employee, just how absolutely terrified I was. It's one thing if things don't sell well and I don't get paid, well, that's my fault, right? It's a whole different thing if you've got an employee now, and maybe they're married, their family, and you can't miss payroll for them because they're reliant on you. But if you don't make that jump of kind of hiring at the right time and hiring the right people as well, I think that will massively constrain the company's growth. So it's a balance between hiring at the right time, hiring the right people, not over hiring. But it's scary. I still remember it really clearly today, that first time I hired someone at my first startup. So yeah. But back to the original question, you need to sell it. It's your enthusiasm. It's great if you have built this product with an early adopter customer, or customers is even better if you can get more than one on board, and then use them to help recommend you to other potential customers. So that would be something I would also be looking to as well. You'll probably see that your early customers are going to be customers that you have a relationship already, and you'll know that you're starting to break out and get product market fit when people who are not your friends or friends of your friends start buying your product. That's a sign you're starting to get product market fit.
Yeah.
As to kind of the second part of the question, which was kind of how do you create that momentum and growth? Jim Collins, I'm sure everyone's read many of Jim Collins's book, but he has this phenomenal concept in one of his books about the flywheel. And if you've not read it, it's a great book. I think it's called The Flywheel. I'll find it. I've actually have it in my bag. But it's a great concept, because if you read his book and kind of follow this process, what he says in the book is that you want to create a product that's unique and has product market fit. You want to get that customer to purchase, and then as that customer purchases, you want to be able to adjust and improve the product so that it has additional capabilities and features, which drives more revenue, and then it drives more customers as well. And you can create this flywheel where as you start to gain more customers and get better product market fit, it will keep propelling itself on its own. And good examples of that are things like, think of Dropbox in the early days, right? Everyone, when you install Dropbox, it would push you to go and email your friends to get a Dropbox subscription, or if you share files with them, it would suggest that they launch a Dropbox subscription, and that kind of creates that flywheel effect that you're looking for in your business. So I would look at how you create a flywheel within your organization. And it's going to involve sales, it's going to involve marketing, it's going to involve product. But if you do this right, you can create the momentum that just keeps spinning. And that's how you scale the business up ultimately.
I think that's a great advice, because when you have like an enterprise software through sales, it's very easy for founders, I think, to understand. You have to find your beachhead customers, you have to work with them, and then go beyond that. But sometimes when I talk to some founders, they say, "Oh, we're just gonna do product-led marketing. We don't need salespeople. If we build the right software, people will buy it." But if you don't put that product in a flywheel situation, whether you go to a marketplace like Amazon store or something, or you find an ecosystem that is going to propel, you still need to have these techniques, Ashley, you're saying, right? So that the product can build the flywheel. Otherwise, you can have the greatest product, even if you put in the great marketplace or where the customers are at. If you don't set these parameters or deployment methods up, the product marketing is not going to work either.
Yep. And you think about the brakes, right? Because there can be brakes on the flywheel as well. So you got to look at what's spinning it up, but also what could be slowing it down. So it's another thing to think about.
And you've already given us so much. We have a very short timetable with your busy schedule. I appreciate it, Ashley. Thank you so much. Look how quickly the time runs out. For our viewers and listeners, we had very limited time with Ashley, who's in Europe right now, and we appreciate the counsel. Thank you. We hope to get you back again. Thanks so much, Ashley, for the words of wisdom, particularly around starting the business, selling it, and believing in it, and the continued success now as you go with Syxsense with this next round. I know you'll probably create another one after this as well. So thank you. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for the invitation. It's been great to join everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. We appreciate you. Please share this with other friends who may appreciate the content, especially with Ashley as our guest. Thanks again. See you next time.